Hi, my name is Ryan, and I'm from Amador Valley High School, and this is my modifications milestone in completing the gesture-controlled robot. Last time I was here, I had the base of the car completed with the input method for gesture control fully working, and I had also implemented 2 ultrasonic sensors to detect motion in both the front and the back of the car, allowing the car to stop accordingly when an object was detected. However, I'm here today and I've implemented an alternative input method using a joystick, and I've also used a button on the controller breadboard to switch between the gesture control and the joystick control. So I'll start with a quick demo. Um, so I'll begin by all the directions work. Oh, can you see the gesture control? Okay, make it more clear. So going forward, backward, left, right, okay? And then there's this button here on the breadboard. If I click that, it doesn't take input from the gesture controller anymore. It'll take input from the joystick. So then, okay, the Bluetooth delay is a little slow, but it goes forward, back, left, right. And of course, this still works with the ultrasonic sensor. Okay. And now I'll show you the code that I used to make these changes. All right, so hopefully you can see that. So this is just the joystick method I created. Essentially, when I do a digital read of the VRX, VRY, and SW pins, essentially for the axes of the joystick, it outputs different numbers depending on the joystick's orientation. So depending on those numbers, I mapped it to forward, back, left, and right using these if statements. And then I just wrote to my Bluetooth module the same way I had done for gesture control, the chart corresponding to that direction. And then I would receive that on the HTO5 Bluetooth module here in the car. It would send it to the Arduino, just like the access controller was sending the signal to the Arduino, and then it would invoke the move methods for the car. And the ultrasonic sensors are also based on the Arduino Uno. So whatever the input is, the ultrasonic sensors will still work. Yeah. Then I would say probably the most challenging part of getting this to actually work was the button. Because to think about it logically, um, I don't want to have both input methods active at the same time, so I accidentally trigger one while I'm using the other. I want it so that I have one at a time, either the gesture controller or the joystick. In this case, only 2 inputs, right? So the button I was able to find and implement, the way it works is that when you hold it down, it has an output value of 1, but when you're not holding it down, it has 0. So it can only measure when it's being pressed, while it's being pressed. It can't just register a press and stay at 1 until you press it again. And that was also the problem, because if I were to just go with the button like that, I would have to hold this button down while using the alternate control method, and that's not really handy or easy. So I created an algorithm to kind of counteract that. Just just looking here in the determine input, this is just determining whether the input is going to be from the access, from the gesture controller or the joystick. I set 2 integer values at the top of the code, counter and b equal to 0. Essentially what it's doing is it's registering that it started off at 0, and that if it's A is going to be equal to the digital read, but B is equal to 0, right? So it's registering if it was 0, but then it was clicked and became 1, it's registering that as a click, not registering while it is being clicked. So if that is then true, it'll increase the counter and it will set B equal to A. So in this way, it continues going, iterating with the variables. And then this is the logic. I just used counter mod 2, so it's just like if it's an even or odd counter, since I only have 2 inputs that I'm switching between, every time I click the button, it will alternate to the other input, right? So in this way, I have it start off with the gesture controller, or the motion gesture method. And if it's not an even number, the counter, then it'll be an odd number and it will go to the joystick, right? And that's what you guys just saw in the demo. So that is my modification. I look forward to maybe doing some rewiring and creating maybe more like a chassis for the car, or doing some design on it, and maybe less on the car, but more here. I feel like there's probably a better way to have this instead of holding it individually, so that it can be more usable and also less prone to accidentally unplugging wires and such. Yeah.